And I was just like hanging.
Here we go.
Well, it says we're live.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we are.
Double check, double check. In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating chocolate.
Yes, people will log in just to watch you eating chocolate. Oh my goodness, yes, we're... Hi, everybody. I think Sondra is so relieved. Guys, we've been having technical issues for freaking 20 minutes. And in between the technical issues, we were talking about bootstrapping and talking about freaking raising capital and then attacking the computer on the side.
And eating chocolate.
Peter was eating chocolate. Thank you for your valuable contribution.
Mm-hmm. Anytime.
You know, stress eating is an important coping
no,
mechanism.
I'm not stressed. Chocolate is good for you.
So, as we were saying, I'm so sorry you missed the Tribe song. But anyway, it was really good. Go listen to it. I'm Nestene.
I'm still Peter.
And we are on the Coffee Shop Conversations show with Sondra, our very best friend from halfway around the world. And we're just having a lovely conversation. And we're talking about bootstrapping and raising financial capital. Remember, this is your safe space where you can chill out and hang out with us for just under an hour now because tech stole our time. But yeah, and we're literally just having a conversation, sharing what we know, sharing what we've discovered, and chatting and creating that safe space where entrepreneurs around the world can connect with each other. So I'll just quickly recap because I had some interesting facts that I really want you to know. So far, we said that Jan Koum and Brian Acton from WhatsApp founded WhatsApp in 2009 and self-funded the company initially. So the messaging app quickly gained traction, and by 2014, Facebook acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. Okay, so that one was Bootstrapped. Then MailChimp by Ben Chestnut and Dan Kurzius. Interesting that all these people are partnerships on the bootstrapping side. Isn't that interesting? Like the top 3 people that I have in my research are all like partnerships. Okay, well, Chestnut and Kurzius founded MailChimp in 2001 as a side project without any external funding. They bootstrapped the company, which has now become one of the leading email marketing platforms, valued at over $4 billion in 2020. So that's also bootstrapped. Then if we go to the raising capital side, I mean, there are partnerships, but a lot of them are singles now. So Jeff Bezos from Amazon founded Amazon in 1994, and after initially funding the company himself, he raised $1 million from angel investors in 1995. Amazon has since raised multiple rounds of funding and became one of the largest companies globally with a market cap exceeding $1 trillion. Then Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, he founded Facebook in 2004 and raised $500,000 from Peter Thiel as its first outside investor. And they had several funding rounds ever since, including from Microsoft. So Amazon and Facebook raised financial capital, WhatsApp and MailChimp bootstrapped. Okay, then if we look at some of the pros and cons, so pros under bootstrapping will be full control, no dilution of ownership, and the financial discipline, because obviously when you are building your own business and bootstrapping, you need
spend it wisely.
Yeah, you don't have money. So you learn to manage what you have, which is not a lot, in order to make it more. And then there's apparently a greater focus on customers as well, because when you bootstrap, you're building on the revenue actually generated from customers. You're not building from assets that you bought in to start the company up. On the con side, you could have limited resources and personal financial risk. So you're putting your signature down on documents, and you could be held personally liable. Ask me, I almost bankrupted myself twice. I learned so much in the process. I don't know why I'm laughing about it. Maybe because it's over. I'm so relieved it's over. But yeah, it's very, very difficult. Bootstrapping. Also worth it though. So, and on the raising capital side, we have pros. Faster growth, access to expertise, enhanced credibility. So there's this idea like if you can put down like this person invested this much in me, it gives your business more credibility. And then also the seasoned entrepreneurs that you involve in your business as investors, they probably have a lot to say about what you should and shouldn't do. So you have access to their expertise, like on Shark Tank. And then on the con side, there's the dilution of ownership. I mean, who was that person that got fired from his own company? It was Apple.
Was it Apple?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the risk that dilution of ownership, and you end up becoming more like an employee in your really great idea than the owner of your really great idea. Which I mean is again like if that's what
Great. But if it's not what you want, but you end up in that business, not so good.
Yeah, so I guess it's all about, I've been working with Sondra and figuring out what on earth I actually want from life. So it's about doing that.
Well, I suppose, we all have different expertise in this space. If we're talking about bootstrapping, people are going to want to know, how do you bootstrap?
Bootstrapping is a fancy term for you have no money and you're building a business.
Yeah, but the question is then, what do you do? I mean, it's...
Well, you're funding it from either like a mix of capital that you've saved or loaned, or both, or from internally generated funds through the business. So if the business has some revenue coming in from customers, you'll use that. You're basically being very scrappy and pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. Like that's kind of where it comes from.
So I think maybe we could create a space where we could advise people that are starting with nothing. There is no internal funds. They've got no money. They have this business. They are bootstrapping it. They've got no income. They're looking to build and create and grow. And then the question is, how? How does one actually do that?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people right now think if you're in that situation, then the first answer is go and look for investors that'll give you money, so you have money.
Which is not always the answer.
Right. I agree, Peter, because a lot of times when you're starting out, you don't know, especially if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what investors are and what that means. They can, like she said, they can fire you, take your ideas, take all that stuff and run with it. I'm very big on making sure you have contracts for everything. They'll get mad at me about that sometimes. And I'm just like, no, because I want to know what's mine. I want to know what's yours. And that needs to be legally said, whether it's a freebie, a giveaway, a paid barter, whatever. In turn, I even sure as heck did make my child sign a contract. You want X amount of money. Because in the US, you can pay your child tax-free up to a certain amount. So she wanted to earn money. I was fine with it, but it was a contractual agreement because, I want her to get paid appropriately, but I also wanted her to learn how to work with a contract, keep time. This isn't, oh, mom, I did a couple hours, like truly take it seriously, not you're just helping mom out here or there. She's done that before, but like she wanted to make money. Set up bank account, the whole works. So definitely teaching that from a younger age, especially right now. She's 15, but I've always bootstrapped. I do not have investors, to be totally honest. I'm going into year 5. I can honestly say I haven't made a profit either. So that's the truth. I had my best revenue generating year last year. Just didn't quite stay in budget, so didn't quite make a profit. But my books just got finished about 2 weeks ago. It made me cringe, but I was like, I get excited and be like, go do this offer, that offer. And then I'm like, oh, wait, you overextended yourself. But I am learning how to manage credit rewards, business credit. Revenue that's coming in. My husband's invested money, so I guess he's an investor technically, but we didn't have a legal thing to it. So yeah, that's all I've done. That's how I bootstrapped it. Barters. I'm very big on barters. Has to be a two-way street. I had one that just ended last month that was not a two-way street. And I was like, this is not working. I even bartered for my hair to get done. Like getting very creative and thinking outside the box. I'm very big on teaching my clients how to outsource without spending dollars. So whether that's a barter, an internship. I have a client who's getting an intern in May. Like she went through a program through the college, and the college is paying the intern. She's not paying the intern. The intern's going to make like $4,000 over summer or some crazy amount. I was like, dang, let me go sign up for the internship. But yeah, she's not paying them. So she gets a free intern basically. So all she's going to do is do the blah, 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 and fill out forms and stuff. So they get credit for college and all that stuff. But yeah, there's definitely ways to bootstrap without investors. Do I think it could be easier if you had investors? Heck yeah. It definitely can. First quarter is always my hardest because LLC, business insurance and stuff. That quarter always makes me run for the hills and go, am I really doing what I want to do? Because this is heck of a expensive. So yeah, I definitely think you can bootstrap. And I'm helping another person. I'm giving hours at the moment, and if it turns into something paid, it turns into something paid. But I also put a time limit on it. So the time limit is till this date in April. You can use whatever services you want, and then we'll move on from there. So I think I'm in a barter group where we barter. Yeah, they literally just ask people, hey, I have this service. Can I get help with this? So there's lots of ways you can do it without money per se. Time is money. I think as an entrepreneur, time to me, time is as valuable as money. So if people give me the time, I 1,000% would take that over. Well, there's been times where I've taken it over money. Yeah, you give me your time. Like let me take advantage of that versus you just giving me $100. Like your expertise and your time is so much more valuable. I guess that would be definitely the two things in that. I hired a grant writer. She wrote grants. She did amazing with it. It's a very competitive field in the US for profit running. Nonprofit's a different story. But yeah. And I also think as an entrepreneur, if you're bootstrapping or if you're an investor, is knowing what you need. And I've learned this the hard way, what documentation you need, business plans, revenue charts, all those things are 5 years in. I'm still figuring that out because I have a client right now that's looking for investors, and I'm like, nope, I don't know how to write a slide deck, but let me research it and we'll figure it out because I've never went after an investor. That's like a whole different line of things. And yeah, she needs all these things, and I was like, okay, you need all these things, and am I creating them? Are you creating them? We're creating them together. So yeah, it's a different beast, I guess, in my mind of going after investors. There's a lot more stuff you have to do. And if it's just a different mindset, not wrong or right. It's just bootstrap versus investing. I think an investor mindset are very different. Bootstrap, you're going to do it no matter what. Investor, you're chasing money, all the time, which is very competitive, especially in the US.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. I mean, for me, there is this entrepreneurial spirit. You'll notice in some kids have just got it at a very young age. Like you have the school market, and then they have to build little things, and then they have to sell things at school. Nestene can sell rocks. She has this ability to paint a rock, put a face on it, and go, I'm charging you this much for it. Some kids have just got that natural instinct of being entrepreneurs, taking nothing, making something, and actually
I was a very good business model.
To selling rocks. Yeah.
I made like 300% profit, and I was 3.
But the reality is that even as adults, and we are entrepreneurs, there is this entrepreneurial spirit, and people are entrepreneurs for different reasons. Sometimes they are entrepreneurs because they want to be wealthy. Sometimes they're entrepreneurs because they just want to survive, and there is a big difference between the two. And we're talking about businesses like like WhatsApp and
MailChimp.
MailChimp, I mean, they went into business. They were clearly not there just to survive. They were there to make an absolute fortune, which is something that they did. But
yeah, they successfully bootstrapped.
But the general masses of people that are out there, not everyone's going to be successful, but everyone has to survive. And the question is, if you're bootstrapping, how do you survive? And I have a very clear answer, but we can get to that.
Don't you just want to tell us? You want to torture us first?
I want to torture you.
You're like a cat. You want to play with us first.
Yeah. Meow. Meow, woof, woof.
Guys, before we go any further, I have to remind you to connect with our fabulous friends that are on the call with us today, that you're hearing all of this amazing input from, and that have taken the time from their days to actually take part in this conversation. So, Sondra, we just heard from you. Do you just want to let the people know what your business is, what your business name is? And remember, everyone's LinkedIn links are in the description below, so you can literally go and connect with them like right now. And just say, hey, I saw you on the show. Can we please have a coffee? That's how things work. Yeah, we do the leg work and the hard work, and you just get to collect because we're nice that way. You're welcome.
Yes, I forgot that part. My name is Sondra. I'm the owner of Get It Done Coaching and VA Services. I'm a goal accountability coach. I help you reach your goals through accountability and bite-sized action.
Nice.
Thank you, Sondra. I think if we are bootstrapping, like one of the things that we need is an accountability coach. I think that is one of the answers, like how do you survive? You have people working with you on making sure that you're doing the right thing at the right time. Because I feel like that's one of the secrets to surviving when you're bootstrapping. Also, one of the things if we go the fundraising route, one of the things that they say is interesting under cons, there's a pressure to deliver returns, because when you have investors on board, obviously they didn't invest in order to watch you live your best life. You know, they kind of invested because they want a return on their money that is better than what they can get out there in the market. So they're betting on you to be the winning horse.
Yeah, so it doesn't mean you can go out there and buy your new car.
No, that would be a very bad idea.
Bad move.
That's what we listen to on Scamfluencers. It's a very good podcast, by the way. And then also one of the cons that they say is it's a time-consuming process. One of the things that I did want to say about, even if you're going the raising capital route, a lot of investors actually ask for a track record. Very, very few investors actually fund when it's just a concept and there's like literally no proof that this concept is going to work. So you might have to bootstrap for a bit before you can even do your initial fundraising round, if fundraising is the way that you want to go. So I think whether you go in the raising capital way or the bootstrapping way, knowing how to successfully bootstrap and build via social capital and all the other things that Peter wants to tell us is very important. It can help a lot. KRISTA, I'm super keen to involve you in this conversation. Do you have anything to say about bootstrapping, raising capital? It's so nice to see you here. You're looking lovely.
Well, I'm curious because being that I like to work with innovators, visionaries, people who may need capital, or people who've worked with investors. And so I'm curious just kind of about the topic in general and how people are pitching and kind of the wide variety out there. Because as I'm a writer, I'm a content writer. I never promise anyone that I'm going to help them find investors, but I do tell them that we can help them to garner trust with and boost credibility with their audience. And then it's up to them, or it's up to a market research process to figure out, okay, how does their audience actually feel? What do they actually think and believe?
Yeah.
So they need to kind of do that infrastructure and market research before they can work with me. But it still behooves me as a writer to have a sense of what the investors need. And you mentioned grant writing earlier, Sondra. I had sort of dabbled in grant writing, but I wasn't able to really get a foothold in that industry because you have to really kind of network your way in with nonprofits. And for whatever reason, I found them more difficult to network with than the business world. I don't know why that is, but that was my experience.
That is very, very interesting.
That is interesting.
I know Darlene Petrie is in. Oh, yes. And before we move further, KRISTA, you have to tell us your name, your business name, and just a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I didn't mention my business name. I did say what I do, that I am a writer, specifically a ghostwriter and blogger, and I write other content as well, like websites. My business name is Wise Words That Matter. I'm KRISTA GIANNAK. I live on Long Island, New York, but I can work with people. I've worked with people in all different countries, from Australia, the US, the UK, Canada, South Africa,
Nice.
of course, because I'm here.
Thank you. Thanks so
And
much.
it's a lot of fun.
I think a very big part of the actual investor setup is networking and getting noticed by the right people, for sure. Then also connecting with the people that maybe know that people and that have played that game. So I know Blue Cap has done a lot of funding rounds. So Ford and Justin, they have raised some funding. Then also on the app side, we have Haley Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's also great to talk to about raising funds for in the tech world. So she helps a lot of techpreneurs and like application builders. Darlene.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Please go for it.
I'm sorry. I thought you were done. If you're not done, I want to listen, but I didn't realize. You said that Darlene is in the nonprofit space.
Yeah. So Darlene has like, I think 30 or 40 years in like fundraising. So she has that expertise. And then also Izon, there's an Izon Twitter in the network as well. And she writes proposals, well, which basically helps you, I guess you could do a proposal for an investor as well.
Yeah, I don't really do that. I've also dabbled in that because I worked with another writing firm, but it's not something that I do on my own because I'm not as familiar with proposal writing as I am with the process of writing blogs and books and people's bios, their websites. What I was going to say is, I think that because I want to meet innovators, visionaries, people who aren't necessarily out there networking, although they can be, especially if they're speakers, I find they may be easier to meet. But a lot of the folks that I would love to work with are not necessarily out there networking. So, and that's what I'm discovering. And even meeting them through web designers or graphic designers, it's really a process I'm finding of finding the right web designers that serve the types of people that I most want to serve. Otherwise, what happens is I can work with them and I can serve their clients, and it won't necessarily be to the full potential, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
So that's what I'm discovering, and it's kind of a somewhat of a challenging road. So I'm wondering if someone had recommended, what if I talk to VCs, venture capitalists, because they're in the tech industry, because they may be in a position to actually when someone's ready to launch something new and they need a decent amount of content, they may be in a position, and I may be in a position to help them with meaning their people, the VC's people, with their stories, their branding, the kind of the wisdom behind the knowledge. Because a lot of tech is like, well, here's my widget, but we really want to be talking about the stories behind the widgets.
Correct.
And also, why should I trust you? Like I've myself, I've started to go to try to use different apps, and in some ways I am an early adopter. I love tech. But on the other hand, if it starts asking for all sorts of permission or info or, okay, yeah, I think I'll hold off on this until I can trust this person.
That makes sense. I think to meet those kinds of people, like people that have literally just succeeded in raising capital, you need to be talking to incubators, incubator programs, basically. So I know Marlon August knows a lot of incubators. He's actually got himself involved in a group of them and he's teaching with them. And then also we're now doing the incubator program with Mancosa. And there will be some investors involved there at the end of the program, looking at what we've created with the entrepreneurs up to that point. So it's actually a topic that we're very interested in as well right now. But it's like you're saying, the people that we're looking to meet in this world, they're not necessarily the people that you'll find at a normal online networking event.
It's actually strange. I've actually found the people that I need to be talking to are the people that need to be networking, but they're not. Like there's some mystical power in the universe that's going to get them what they need, and they're really, which is why I think some spaces actually battle to raise capital, because raising capital, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with real people. I mean, it's you can't be a recluse, have this amazing idea. Kind of just post the idea and then talk to no one. It doesn't really work. So for me, I think that people are the best capital in the world. You'll find that getting somebody's buy-in to a space, or getting their support, getting their advice, getting their buy-in to what you're actually doing, is probably, for me, is way better than somebody that comes along and goes, oh, I can just put some money into this and get some return on investment. So for me, bootstrapping is all about how you build relationships and with which people and when, because there is a strategy to it. You don't just go and make friends with everyone. You've got to take a look at your business and go, well, who do I actually need to make friends with? Who do I need to talk to? Strategically, what friends do I need in my corner? Strategically, who can I be a friend to that it is beneficial to them and beneficial to me? I think if you can add that to your repertoire of bootstrapping skills, you're literally like 50% there.
Do you want to tell us more about that?
Which part?
The whole part.
The whole part? What do you mean the whole part?
You said that there's an important, you said there's like a bit that comes first and there's a way that you do this, and then you just went on and you never told us, like, what's step 1, what's step 2, what's step 3, like, what are we supposed to do at what point in time?
Right, action steps. What are the action steps?
Action steps.
Sondra gets me. Sondra just gets me.
Okay, so action steps. You are an entrepreneur. You're not breaking even. You are earning enough to kind of just feed yourself, maybe not even completely, maybe the odd McDonald's burger, maybe you're not eating at all, yet you're an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs, we plot, we plan, we scheme, we build, we develop, we construct, we do loads of different things to make our business turn over. Yet at the same time, a lot of us don't understand that we don't only have to rely on our own skills. A lot of entrepreneurs that are out there think, I'm the entrepreneur, I have to make this happen, I have to pay the bills, I have to do absolutely everything. I have to do my own marketing. I have to do every single piece of this entrepreneurial venture is on my shoulders, and I'm absolutely 100% alone. And the answer and the response to that is absolute nonsense. You don't have to be on your own. There are other entrepreneurs out there that think exactly the same. Why not just get them all together? Then none of them are on their own. It's a way of thinking that just changes from it's me and mine and this whole competitive thing to I can actually meet other people that are just like me, that have different skill sets, that I can benefit them and they can benefit me, and we can grow. The business is still yours. You're not selling anything. You're not signing anything away. But yet, when you surround yourself with the right people, when the time comes that you have actually built something with the assistance of others that you've helped them build too, you haven't been on the journey on your own, which is probably the most important thing. A lot of entrepreneurs feel like they're just by themselves, and they get stuck. And then when they get stuck, there's nobody to turn to, nobody to ask for advice, nobody to say, it's going to be okay. We'll get together and we'll think it through. I think if you change the mindset and surround yourself with the right people, it can make a whole lot of difference. I mean, when we make decisions in our space, sometimes we jump before we look how high it is, but we have the ability to reach out to people in our space and go, whoa, we jumped. Was that such a good idea?
No, usually we're not even jumping. We're just like falling into things.
Surround yourself with the right people as support. Surround yourself with the right people in an advisory capacity. Surround yourself with the right people surround yourself with people that are going through the same things that you're going through. And you will find that the support will be incredible, because just as much as you need theirs, they need your support. So that there, if you compare that, capital, investment of capital, or investment of human capital, real people, you can build just as well with either or.
I mean, unless you're building like a property investment company.
Well, then you just need to do it the way that you would build a property investment company. But I mean, how would you, if you're building a property investment company, you still need to have those relationships.
Yeah, but you also need capital to buy the property.
That's fine, but if you are out there on your own, going, hey, I need capital as one voice. If you are in a space where you're supported by a lot of people, and you've built trusted relationships, when you go, hey, I need capital, then you have a whole group of people around you that go, actually, I trust this person. Actually, I trust this person. Actually, yes, I've been involved with this person. We've done business before. They delivered. Yes, I trust this person. But you go to a group of people and go, I'm looking for investment. And they're like, we don't know you.
And we don't care.
And
Good luck.
Good luck. No, surround yourself with the right people, and you might actually find that even in just your dealings with people, and you're like, oh my goodness me, actually, you know what, I'm taking the next step and I need investment. And the people that are around you will be like, actually, you know what, we got your back, we'll invest. Because you've built that relationship. Those relationships are key.
That's actually another something we should mention. Like, it's kind of a hybrid between bootstrapping and then also raising funds. Is all of the crowdfunding ways of raising equity. Yes, Sondra, please come in.
Just real quick, because I do have to hop off. I love what you're saying, Peter. What I have found, though, I guess the little but I would put in there is that sometimes if you're all at the same level, you can't get to the next level. Sometimes you got to get in the room with people that are higher level than you to reach for that level, because that happened a couple of weeks ago to me. Like, I manifested a trip, got to go to an amazing conference, but majority of these people were a higher level than me. They were, but some of them were still bootstrapping. Because what I've found is if you're all on the same level, nobody knows the next best step. Like they're like, okay, we're all doing this thing, and we're all spinning our wheels, but nobody knows how to get out of this, the hamster wheel or whatever. So definitely it does, even if you're not on the level of them, getting yourself in there at least once or twice for that exposure of like, this is where you can go, this is what you can do, helps also keep that dream alive. Because let's face it, in the mundane of day-to-day operational, where's the next dollar going to come from? The hope can die down very quickly. So getting into the entrepreneur space is what I've found, is if I can go and expose myself, exposure to the next level of this is what you can go to. And then the other thing I would say on that is that you're going to outgrow people. Not everybody, some people are going to stay on that level, and you're going to go to the next level, and you're going to be like, we can still be business friends, but I can't hang out with you daily because I went to this level and you stayed here. So our relationship is going to look different. And as a person that's super relationship focused, feelings focused, I've had to like be okay with people going, hey, we'll still check in once in a while, but we're not going to be besties daily because we just went in different directions. Or when I've taken time off to be with family and stuff, they've went and did their own thing and they've moved on. So sometimes evaluating, actually as my quarterly review, I talk about evaluating accountability and who's in your circle and your resources, because life happens to people, things change. I also am very big on quarterly check-ins, coffee chats with people, but even if I've talked to them 2 months ago, life happens, my stuff could change, your stuff could change, and I could be referring people to you that you don't want anymore, or vice versa. So I think really evaluating and making sure you're reviewing that at least quarterly so that hey, this is what I need for the next level, or maybe I'm cool with where I'm at and I'm going to hang out with these friends. But if somebody leaves because they want to go do X, Y, or Z, no hard feelings. That's just part of life. That cycle.
Yeah. I think I have a similar viewpoint, but somewhat slightly different. I think that the entrepreneurial space, especially in regards to networking, and networking has become a bit of a dirty word. It's become so plastic and so quite fake, and the way that people are actually networking with each other is just by getting into each other's spaces and delivering elevator pitches, which doesn't form the greatest of relationships. It's just all about marketing. But if we talk about real relationships and real people, I think that if you create a space where, yes, and Sondra, what you said about having people at different levels, very, 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 very important. And as you build and as you grow, you grow into those spaces. And I think that the relationships that you built previously, just as somebody else that it may be, if you want to look at it in levels or in a scale, not that I see one person more important than the other, but if somebody that is out there that is doing better than you puts their hand out and goes, hey, let me help you get to my level, there's somebody above them going, hey, let me help you to get to my level. And then just as you build and grow, if the relationships around you are true and trusted, and then you should be reaching your hand out and helping the person that is maybe the level below you, going, hey, let me help you get to this level. And I think this whole thing of entrepreneurs having this very singular mindset of, it's just me. It's much the same as somebody that's moaning and complaining. Somebody will be like, oh, I'm moaning and moaning and moaning because nobody in the world understands what I'm going through. Well, I've got news for you. Of all the people on the face of the planet, I guarantee you a huge percentage of those people are going to know exactly what you're going through because they've all gone through it before. It's just that we feel like nobody understands, or nobody could possibly know. But the reality is that a lot of people do. They do know. So build those authentic relationships. I think it's so important. Are we going to outgrow people? Yes, we are definitely going to outgrow people. Should we leave them behind? No, because they were part of the reason that we got to where we're going. So as much as we want to build ourselves, if we're building others in the process and they're building us, I think the recipe for success is just the percentage just increases a whole lot more.
Thank you, Peter.
Ta-da.
That was a very interesting bootstrapping versus financial capital raising coffee shop show, ladies and gents. It's been so fun being here with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you learned a lot, that you met some people that you wouldn't have met other than this. Remember, everyone that spoke on the show today is listed in the description. So in the LinkedIn links, their links will be there. Just go and click and say, hey, I saw you on the show. Let's connect. And yeah, let's take it from there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Have a gorgeous day further. May all your wildest dreams come true.